Hi, welcome back to another Crypto Dave video. It's Friday, which means another crypto interest rates and news update. Today is the 12th of March 2021, and as always, before we jump into the stories, just take a quick glance at any new coins or interest rates. And nothing new to really talk about on the new coins front. There were a few interest rate changes, so quite a few interest rate changes, particularly to stable coins, that I have updated on the Celsius network here. They were the only real ones that I kind of saw over the last week. Thanks to everybody who is pinging me and emailing and leaving comments when they do see inaccuracies and changes here. So thanks very much for doing that. Do try and keep it as up to date as possible. So then moving on to the token prices. So it's been a pretty positive week this week. Obviously, Bitcoin, it's had a bit of a pullback today, but up to 58,000 again last night. And on the back of that, you know, Ethereum having a pretty decent kind of week after drawing back substantially from its 2,000, but it was back up to about 1,800 last night. And on the back of that, all these tokens have done pretty well this last week. Crypto.com in particular up 26% over the last 7 days. Celsius Network up 18% and NEXO up 8%. So a really good week across the board for all of these tokens, particularly Crypto.com and Celsius Network. So then moving over to some stories, the big news for BlockFi this week, they've completed a $350 million Series D, so this is their latest funding round. You can read the full article kind of here, but yeah, you know, raising a lot of money, you know, onto the kind of Series D. I think they did 2 or 3 raises last year, so a substantial amount of money. Seems to be largely the same investors as before. But yeah, raising a huge amount of money over the last kind of year or so. No doubt this is pretty decent, you know, for some of the stuff they're doing, particularly on the institutional side. And they're doing quite a lot of kind of hiring over and above, you know, what they're kind of announcing behind the kind of scenes. They've been doing quite a lot of kind of hiring, I believe, as well. So yeah, nice to see them raising kind of money. Nice to see them kind of like pushing forward. So I'll let you read this story and all the rest. I'll put all the links in the description below as always. And then moving on to NEXO. So last week we covered the fact that with the really high Ethereum fees, that NEXO had basically got rid of all the free withdrawals, and they'd changed the borrowing minimums and withdrawals and stuff like that. Now that's been sort of rode back on now. So a week later, the fees on Ethereum have changed a bit. They've come down substantially, I think, over the last week. So free withdrawals are back, and borrowing minimums are down to $50 again. Again, you can read the full article kind of here. But basically, the free withdrawal limit is 5 for the platinum tier, 3 for gold, 2 for silver, and 1 for the base. So even if you're in the base tier, you can still do 1 free withdrawal each month. So the other thing was the crypto-backed loan. So this is their instant crypto credit lines. That went up to $500, and that's back down to $50 when you're withdrawing in stable coins. So all to do with the congestion really on the Ethereum network. That's eased a bit, and they've gone back to having a few free withdrawals. Now this is still substantially kind of different. They are limiting the amount compared to Celsius, but I actually want to speak about the Celsius free withdrawals a little bit later on. And then sticking with NEXO for a minute. This was released a couple of days ago, or yesterday I think it was, and it was nice to see actually. So the title here: what if all companies with Bitcoin allocation started putting a portion of it into Bitcoin development? And we have seen this with companies like MicroStrategy and basically NEXO are the latest one to do this. So they have donated or contributed $150,000 to Brink, which is a non-profit organization which supports open source Bitcoin development. So this will go towards an independent Bitcoin developer. And I think as more and more money comes into this, we'll see more and more companies that are taking large positions actually kind of do this, because obviously, you know, Bitcoin, there's no kind of company behind it or anything kind of like that, and it does rely on all its kind of developers. So I think you know, contributions from large institutional players, which, you know, I mean, 150,000 is probably nothing to kind of NEXO and will be nothing to kind of MicroStrategy and stuff like that. But if all these kind of companies that took large positions put, you know, $100,000 a year into, you know, a fund or into kind of independent kind of Bitcoin developers, it does really kind of like, you know, safeguard the future of Bitcoin itself. You know, obviously these people were doing it before they were kind of like, you know, getting paid out of the out of kind of interest or anything like that. But nice to know that there is money kind of flowing in and flowing over to the development side to keep everything on track. And then moving on to crypto.com. So I got this email a couple of days ago. So this was really long email. It only came through in the last kind of week, and we are now almost the middle of kind of March. But it's all the February 2021 updates. Now I won't go through all of these, but they've been sending this kind of through. It's quite a nice kind of monthly update, and it does really bring home quite how much stuff. A lot of these kind of platforms, crypto.com, obviously have a lot of different feathers to their kind of bow. They have obviously kind of interest accounts. They've got the crypto-backed loans. They've got the exchange. They've got a DeFi product. They've got Supercharger and Syndicate and all these different kind of features. I think in some ways sometimes too many. But if you scroll through and have a read through this article, it really brings home exactly how much stuff they're doing on a monthly basis. The top ones we'll just go through quickly. So they crossed the 10 million user milestone. Now I don't know if these are all active users, but it's only 4 months after they reached 5 million users. So they've doubled their user base in the last 4 months. I think this is really indicative of the kind of bull market and the kind of the increase in the kind of crypto communities, crypto organizations and stuff like that. Something else we covered on this channel was the CRO, so 70 billion CRO or crow to be burnt. This is with the upcoming mainnet launch, and we covered some of these mainnet articles in previous kind of weeks. The staking rewards set at 20% for mainnet. Derivatives trading now live on this exchange. So this is quite a big one, and I missed this when it was announced, but this is something that I'll probably take a little bit of a look at. So for those people trading kind of derivatives, and if you're in the UK, I should stress that the FCA have deemed derivative trading in crypto to be illegal as of the beginning of this year. But if you are in different parts of the world, you're using something like kind of Bybit or other platforms like that, nice to have sort of alternatives. I don't know how good this will be, the crypto.com exchange derivatives. I don't know how big the market, how much liquidity they'll have, but nice to see kind of new players kind of cropping up. The anti-phishing code we kind of covered, and various other bits and pieces. There's a Tesla. You can win one of each of the different 4 models of kind of Tesla, so that's a lucky draw that I think has just finished. But lots of articles here we can scroll through. There's lots and lots here to read about if you're interested, and as I mentioned before, all the links to these articles are in the description below. And then a couple of articles about Celsius. So firstly, they've confirmed over 10 billion in digital assets. Now when they first started talking about this at the end of 2020, they said they had 3.3 billion in digital assets. But even though basically this is a PR piece from Celsius Network, so this is just Celsius saying we have over 10 billion digital assets. I'm not suggesting for a moment they don't have that, but there's no real kind of like links to the kind of the third-party tools they're kind of using. There's no validation. This isn't like an in-depth audit or something else like that. This is just them using some third-party tools to say, yeah, we've got 10 billion in digital assets. So I really would like to see Celsius. They are probably the most vocal about how many or how much they have assets under management, stuff like that. And I would like to see a proper in-depth kind of audit of kind of Celsius. I'd like to see what they've got in each of the different kind of currencies, not just a total kind of like figure that includes kind of Celsius, the amount of Celsius they hold themselves. So I would love to see a proper audit on Celsius. I'm not having a go at kind of Celsius. I've used them. I do still have some altcoins in kind of Celsius, but I do sometimes wish that Alex would spend less time just kind of like ranting about how crap BlockFi are and how amazing Celsius are, and more time just kind of like focusing on his own product rather than kind of like kind of trying to beat down the kind of the competition, as it were. So it's always, I think, the more somebody kind of like rants on about how awful other people kind of are, it makes me kind of like wonder a little bit about them kind of selves. So I'm not having a go at Celsius. It did really well for me, the increase in price. Celsius last year, the Cell token, I was choosing to get paid out in Cell. So the price did really, really well for me. Apologies, let me just turn that off. So the price increase in Celsius did really well on the interest front for me last year, but I would like to see them concentrate more on their own business and less on bashing others. And then on a similar thing, and again this is a little bit self-grandizing, but Celsius Network valued at 3.1 billion following a review. Now, as the first line now kind of says, and this was updated to include this, Celsius is expected to grow its assets under management by 25% annually through to 2025, according to Alpha Sigma Capital. But as I said, it should be noted that Alpha Sigma Capital is an investor in kind of Celsius. So although they are saying, oh, the company's got an implied value of 3.13, this is just one of their investors kind of saying that. And like a lot of the kind of Celsius thing, it's a great headline kind of figure, but when you dig deep into the kind of like the actual kind of logic and the information kind of behind it, it's a little bit kind of flimsy. So that's it for this week. The other one thing I did really want to kind of mention, and for those of you who are using Celsius, now it advertises itself as 0 fees. Now I withdrew an exact 10 Ethereum from Celsius this week, and I got charged $3.65 fee. So I was expecting 10 Ethereum to arrive in my wallet, and slightly less than that arrived. I think it was 9.99 something. Now I'm not bothered about the $3.65 kind of fees, but it was a bit kind of bizarre because they still are advertising themselves that they are 0 withdrawal fees and stuff like that. So I wanted to know, if anyone else had seen this, if anybody else had done a withdrawal of cryptocurrencies or stablecoins and actually been charged a fee. And I went into their website before I looked at this. They are still advertising 0 fees. So I don't know if I've just missed them saying that you can only have 1 free withdrawal a month or 2 free withdrawals or something like that. I think I've probably had 2, maybe 1 or 2 over the last few weeks. So I don't think it was the amount of kind of withdrawals I've done, but interesting to see that I withdrew an exact 10 Ethereum and actually received slightly less. So if you have had similar experiences, do let me know. I'm interested to hear other people's experience of Celsius over the last few weeks. Anyway, that's it for this week. Thanks very much for watching. As always, if you can give me a thumbs up, consider subscribing to the channel. That would be fantastic. Hope you're keeping safe and well. Hopefully I'll see you on the next video, but until then, have a great day. Bye bye.